Goodyear, who has been so close, but here comes Lyondike. Lyondike, they go into the corner side by side, and Lyondike takes the lead of the 500.
You know they're both trying to save fuel, but it looks like Scott tried to save us back there.
Making the turn for home, here comes Ari Lyondike. Get down there! That's it, baby!
This is the Mile in the Desert. I'm Paul Page with Tom Sneva, Phoenix International Raceway, PIR. It is one of the greatest tracks ever built, and it was built years and years ago and has a magnificent history.
Well, it really does, Paul. All the Insers have driven there, and there's not a lot of those racetracks still left on our circuit that all the Insers have raced on. But a lot of great tradition, a great driver's racetrack.
It is one that in the early days saw the Roadster racing here and then the transition to the rear engine car like we're going to see today. And no one has won more or been better at it than Tom Sneva. He's the master of the mile at Phoenix. So, Tom, how do you win this thing?
Well, you run up front towards the end of the race is how you do it, Paul. But again, this is a driver's racetrack. You sort of put the spurs on and dig the spurs in the side of the race car and just attack the race course. Again, traffic's a big problem. Getting through turns 1 and 2 is probably the real key to going fast at Phoenix.
And how far ahead do you have to be looking to be able to make a pass here?
Well, that's a big key to what happens. You've got to look way ahead, actually, but you've got to see what traffic's doing both in front of you and back of you, and not just 1 or 2 cars, but you got to anticipate what might happen in the next 2 or 3 laps.
All right, let's go down and check with our colleague, Jack Arute.
The premise of this series was to create a more even playing field for individual drivers. The thought process being, if you can limit the type of equipment and the sophistication of that equipment, the premium will be put back upon the driver's performance. Thus far, with the engine and rules combinations, that's precisely what we've seen. It all now depends just how quick the driver is inside the cockpit.
Perfect.
Welcome to CMS, Charlotte Motor Speedway in the Piedmont of the Carolinas. I'm Paul Page with Tom Sneva, and for many years this track has belonged to the stock car drivers of NASCAR, but now it's an IRL track as well, and Bruton Smith, the owner, and his general manager, Humpy Wheeler, are always looking for new innovations, new ways to make the racing show better, and they've done it here. Night racing. Not just a bunch of floodlights placed up on the grandstand, but a very expensive, very sophisticated system to give even light throughout the racetrack and make sure there's never a glint of a spotlight in a driver's eyes. It's going to make an interesting challenge.
Well, it'll be fun to watch. I think actually the drivers might be faster at night because if you can't see what you're doing, you usually go a little faster.
A mile and a half around here, fairly flat course, and a course that tends to have some ripples in it, which will make it very interesting for these low-riding IRL cars.
Well, it'll be a handling track because the surface will be a lot rougher than some of the tracks they run on. The banking will be higher, and it's going to mean a lot of exciting racing to watch.
All right, let's go now to Jackaroo.
The concept of the Indy Racing League was simply put to make this a driver's series. Now, how to go about that? Try and make the rules evenly applied from the front to the back of the field. Come up with a standardized package for engines and chassis. That's precisely what they've done. Now, the performance is based upon the performance of the driver, the performance of the pit crew. How well they respond to changing race conditions oftentimes determines how well they finish.
Just one more to go.
Your last lap, 23. You are now P1. Bless my heart, you can drive. That's a digger. Your last lap, 22.8. You are now in P1.
Pit stop now. Pressure on the team to stop, but be perfect.
Don't blow